Hey guys, welcome back to Collecting Profit. My name is Anthony, and with me, as always, is my co-host Michael over at Huddle Card Collection.
What's up?
Today, super excited because we have Alex from Car Dealer Pro on with us, and you guys have seen we've had several guests on the channel that are users of Car Dealer Pro and have really scaled their business through using the actual service. So getting to actually hear it now from the horse's mouth is going to be really awesome. So Alex, thank you so much for your time tonight. Really appreciate you just taking the time to talk with us and the audience here this evening.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, first off. And it's great to hear that you guys are already familiar and you've had guests on that we've helped. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Carrie over at American Arbitrage spoke very highly of you guys, as did J Max Sports Cards spoke very highly of you guys as well. And actually, I believe the first time I found you guys was from one of the videos J Mac did when he got one of his scanners, and he was trying out the software and stuff like that. And he had tried, I think, a few different, even like competitors, and like he was just like, "Yeah, this is the one for me. This is the one that's the most user friendly. It's the easiest. It gets like the cards right the most amount of times." And like for me, like as somebody who like really is watchful when it comes to spending my money, seeing somebody like really go through the time and the effort in kind of vetting services, and then to see so many people kind of jump on that might have had a smaller eBay store, and then like almost seemingly overnight, like they have thousands of cards and they're doing really good business. And really the only difference is that they've bought a scanner and they now are now using the software. Like we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, and you'd asked if like I sold on eBay or whatnot. I was like, yeah, I have an eBay store with like 2,000 plus cards. I've listed the hard way. That's why I'm like super happy to talk to you this evening. You know what I mean? To see like how many cards I could have if I would just like stop being an idiot and use the help that's available through Car Dealer Pro.
Yeah, so like the reason why Car Dealer Pro exists is because of the pain you just described right there. So there's a pain in the sports car market, and I don't have to, my job is the, director of sales at Car Dealer Pro. So my job is to sell our software, but I don't have to sell anybody on the pain that it takes a long time to list on eBay. That's a pretty, just a universal thing when I talk to collectors, resellers, card shop owners. Everybody knows what I'm talking about there. And Car Dealer Pro, what it does is, it helps you in bulk list to eBay. So it takes JPEG images and it turns them into titles, descriptions, all the fields necessary to list in eBay, and it spits out the template that you need to bulk list all at once. So basically, if you're what I like to say is if you're like fully Red Bulled up, full energy in 1 hour, how many cards could you list with the eBay mobile app? Pretty universally, the top answer anybody's ever really that was reasonable said was about 30. So about one every 2 minutes is what, if you were full attention.
Yeah.
We talked about this pre-show, but if you did that, it would be soul crushing work. It'd be a painful hour, but right, you would, if you plowed through, you would get 30. On the low end, the Car Dealer Pro, like you can expect your numbers to be in like the 200 to 300 an hour output range to get listed to eBay, and that number will go up as with time, and then depending on your inventory. So right now, we do a little bit better with vintage cards. Like the older the card is, the more accurate it's going to be across the board, and less kind of manual input. Some of the brand new releases and short print refractors like are a little bit of a challenge, but it's still, to me, it saves everybody time for every amount of cards at the end of the day, because of the way that we organize the effort and give you a software to do all of them at once. So, I know for a fact that we've helped people list 100,000 active listings on their eBay store, to numerous card businesses. And I think, Anthony, you can attest, like that would not have been possible the hard way by hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's growing the hard way. I mean, that's why it's so intriguing to me, is just because like I've seen people that, um, and not putting any names out there, but like that I know personally, I could list circles around, like blow me completely out of the water. And the main difference is they're using Car Dealer Pro, and they'll even say it. Like they would fully come on here and say, yeah, the main difference between my eBay store, 6 months ago to my eBay store now is literally I'm not doing the majority of the work, because most of the time, like, uh, not all eBay sellers, but there's a large demographic of people who sell on eBay because I mean, it's easy work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not very difficult. Like, so you can be lazy and still make money. So like the actual grueling monotony of like pushing yourself to actually list, you know, X amount of cards per day sometimes can be like a little bit of a toll. And like even myself personally, like I last night I listed 100 cards and like I was burnt out. Like I literally felt like my brain was going to explode like towards the end of like the cards that I was listing, and like to think that like that could have been like an hour on Card Dealer Pro, and like maybe even more if like I was like listing the right type of inventory that the AI was easily able to identify, like vintage or just not crazy parallels.
And you got to figure also, when you look at probably what you did last night, Anthony, you probably used you probably use sell similar a lot also, right? So I mean, that's even using some amount of help, it took you
Yeah.
that long to do that many.
That was with
from
Sell
that
Similar
standpoint.
and eBay's new AI descriptions that they have
Yeah.
now.
Because
So
most people probably, I mean, for me, I wouldn't even do many custom descriptions anyway, even in my process with Buy Mobile. Yeah, like all the math there is definitely using the eBay mobile app, using Sell Similar, not even really adjusting the title. So like one of the key things, like, or one of the most helpful things, Cardio Pro, is you can go into settings and you can adjust your title. So in bulk, you can kind of make sure your title comes out exactly how you want it to every single time, so that it's keyword searchable. It's got the card number. It's got whether it's a rookie card, an autograph. It's got attributes about the card, just in the exact order every time, and very predictable. And some people even put like branding in their title that's consistent. Like I know Pristine MJ Sports Cards always does PMJS, and it's kind of like a thing that they do. So, that can be that's a really helpful thing too. Just keep organized with templates and like keep your descriptions and your titles very consistent.
that's a good tip.
Yeah,
What's up,
I
Michael
think.
Ham? Good to see you, brother.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but the chat's not updating on the StreamYard side. I don't know if you guys can see that, but
It's not.
I just
That's
checked.
weird.
I was checking on YouTube because on StreamYard it's like saying 0 and like no chat. So I just looked on YouTube. And there are some people here. So
Yeah.
what's up to Michael Ham? Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you being here, man. Got your buddy Dom in the house. Good to see you, brother. Hey, says hey Huddle Mania. Good to see you, brother. He's at Shea Stadium cheering on the Mets. Good for you, brother. Hopefully the Mets will win for you. Got Titus in the house. God is
The bad
great.
part is if he's in Shea Stadium, we are in trouble, because I think it's like 1984. Because I think they took out that stadium in '84, well, or whatever number it was.
Shows how much I know about the Mets. Got my guy Paul in here, or maybe even Revy with the Off-Centered podcast over on Facebook. What is up, guys? Good to see you. Go follow them over on Facebook if you haven't already. They have a great Filipino hobby podcast. Really, really awesome stuff. So if you guys haven't checked out Off-Centered, make sure you check them out. But yeah, appreciate you guys being here. I'll try to keep up with the chat as best as possible now that I know that you guys are here. Again, StreamYard's not pulling it in for some reason this evening. But again, we do appreciate you being here. Any questions you guys have for Alex or, either Michael or myself, feel free to put that in chat as well. And your comments are always in play.
So Alex, what was the driving force? How did Car Dealer Pro start?
Yeah, so I definitely not. I wasn't involved in the original inception of Car Dealer Pro, but Car Dealer Pro came about from a guy named Fred Barnes, and he had a vintage sports car business in Denver called Denver Baseball Cards, and basically it grew so large that he basically dreamed up the idea of Car Dealer Pro because he had all these vintage commons from deals that he would do, and he was selling off the big stuff, but he just ended up with like amassing just a large amount of cards, and he didn't know how to get rid of them, and he didn't want to basically trade them into the LCS or sell them in bulk and kind of lose the money that they were actually worth, right? So he devised like a very basic version of Car Dealer Pro to work with specific sets of very basic vintage sets in a spreadsheet, and then it was like this crazy spreadsheet, and then it kind of grew into like a true photo matching element, and it was kind of hired out and built out, and then it was sold to then Collects, which is a company that is an app that you can download for free on your iPhone or Android, that you scan a card and get a value and can add to the marketplace for sale. So I work at Collects, right, as an entire company, right? And then, Car Dealer Pro is our B2B software that helps people, eBay sellers list a lot quicker. So that's how it came about. And then that's what brings us here now. I've been working there since January 1st, and we've grown tremendously. Like, it's amazing. And it's all organic. And it's just kind of like going to the national, speaking with people like yourself. There's a true need in the market for the software that we have. And I'm really excited because I know we're helping a lot of people, and we're about to release Car Dealer Pro 2.0, a new version of Car Dealer Pro in about 3 to 5 weeks or so. And it's going to be even better than what we have right now. So we rewrote the front end and back end, and are trying to make it, even better to help people list cards even quicker. So I'm super bullish on what we're doing over here.
Yeah.
I think we're going to help a lot of people, and I hope this time next year, we're making a bigger splash at the national, that type of thing.
Very cool. So like then obviously, I guess when it first started, it was actual photos, either with a phone or a camera, or was it a scanner type thing involved from the beginning?
So like for Car Dealer Pro, we don't require a scanner. It's a JPEG image is the only requirement, and that's always been the case. But a scanner was quickly procured because the best way to scan in bulk, raw cards is with an auto feed scanner. So it was pretty much a part of the process from the get-go, even before the software, I believe. So, I wanted to mention, even today, use Car Dealer Pro. You can use your phone. You can use any JPEG image. A scanner isn't required because we're a web app. So at the end of the day, you upload JPEG images to our web app, and then we do the AI, reads the card and figures out and builds your title, description, and everything for the eBay listing.
So even if I had folders full of cards, which I do, because while I'm out and about, I'll even try to maximize my free time. I have 20 minutes free. I'm gonna list three to five cards. You know what I mean? So I keep these folders full of cards. So I wouldn't even need to start from scratch with a scanner. I could use pictures I've already taken months ago. And you're saying
the only one caveat I'll say is this would totally work. The one caveat is that the naming convention of the image files is important. So you would need to name them with a numeric string 0001 to start, and then it would have to sequentially go in order, so that like we could that's how we string together the front and the back. So when we use a scanner and paper stream capture, like that comes out of the box. So that's the one. It's not that it's impossible, but that's the one like extra step that's a little challenging with phones, is that you do have to rename the image files on the fly.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so you do recommend just going straight through the scanner software just to for the best result.
Yeah, it definitely is my recommendation. Like using a phone is not recommended because ultimately it's going to take you longer. There's a couple of options. You can. There's the Ricoh 8170. That's our number one scanner. That's the scanner that I'm showing on the screen, and the scanner.
I was looking at some of the ones you guys recommend.
So like that's definitely like the recommended, but I wanted to also call out like the more affordable option is like it's slower, but it also is like the number one option for graded cards. So if I on my desk I have an Epson V600, I have a Ricoh 8170. So when I get a sub back from SGC or PSA, then I'm sitting down with my flatbed scanner. I'm using that. Card Dealer Pro helps in two ways with graded cards. So if you're using a flatbed scanner, it does auto cropping. So you can do 4 slabs at one time, and it'll auto crop around the slabs. And the same thing with raw cards. It'll do auto crop right around them, and you can do up to 9 raw cards. So that saves people a lot of time. A lot of people around the industry are using flatbed scanners and not our software, but spending the time to crop their cards individually. So just with our software that you get that benefit. And then we're also, doing the AI work and building the export to bulk lists marketplaces. So, and that scanner, the Epson V600 runs $200 MSRP, and you can find it at any Best Buy. So it's super accessible. The Ricoh 8170 is, you go on the website, you can go on Amazon or direct from Ricoh. And I do highly recommend owning one, but there isn't as big of a barrier to entry as it might appear to some people.
No, that is nice that this one does take top-loaded cards as well.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like one of the biggest things that separates it from some of the others that on the market that you'll see people show off is that its effectiveness with top loaders, penny sleeves, and card savers. So it works with all of those card supplies, whereas some of the other ones that we don't recommend and you won't see us push on our website that some other pages will basically they don't work well with those card supplies, and they don't actually officially support cards in an official way yet. So whereas the Ricoh 8170, you can call their support line and tell them you're using it for cards, and they'll actually help you.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part. That's really good.
Awesome. So as far as the website goes, if you're a brand new person coming to the website, what are some things that you'd want to point out to somebody as far as ease of access or any features or things that you guys offer?
Yeah, I mean it's really very simple. So we don't, I think people pretty much get it, but I would point out we could talk about pricing. I think is probably the easiest next step. We talked about scanners. You just need JPEG images to use us. So we start at $9 a month, and you get 500 monthly AI scans. What that is front and back counts as one. So it's basically 500 cards a month. You can upgrade, downgrade, cancel anytime, and it starts with a 7-day free trial. So there's no commitment here, and that's one of the biggest competitive advantages we have in the market versus our competitor Chrono Cards. Their only option is a monthly payment plan that you pay for your total amount of listings, and then also a yearly plan fixed fee that you have to pay, where we're allowing you to try the product for 7 days, and we also offer month-to-month plans that start as low as $9. they increment. They go up by the number of scans, and it goes up to $199 a month for 25,000 scans. And if you need any more, you can contact me directly. But
So is a scan front and back? So
Yeah,
yeah,
he
so
says
front and back is one. So
Oh,
yeah,
front. Oh,
you don't get
okay.
double counted there. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
basically,
That's huge.
so basically at $9 a month, you get 500 cards to scan.
Yeah,
Yep.
so each of these is like number of cards that you're actually getting, which is huge.
Yep.
Because if you'd think
Wow.
of like actually paying somebody to list 500 cards, like you'd be paying way more than $9.
Way more than $9.
DC Sports 87 just announced a promotion, their brand new promotion for their premium special, right? They're charging $5 a card as a big advertisement. Like, look how cool. Like, you know what I mean? So if you do the math
Yeah.
there, at $9 a month for 500, right? Do it yourself. You don't pay the extra consignment fee. I think that's like one of the theses. Like I remember when I was a kid, right? I grew up like as a big video game player, right? And you would buy this is back before you could download your video games. So you had all the actual CD copies. And when you would go to GameStop, right, to turn them in, you would be offered like 10% of what they would go for on eBay. And, you know, that's kind of like, that's the hobby in a nutshell. Unless you have something super desirable that's like universally loved and appreciated, like when you go to sell it in bulk, you're going to get offered pennies on the dollar. And Car Dealer Pro is giving you an option to do the work yourself, do it more efficiently, and then get the full value of your cards because you're able to put them online yourself. So that's my message to people that aren't already doing that. A lot of people will completely understand what I'm saying because they already get that, but and will just be a tool. But to me, Car Dealer Pro is an opportunity actually out there in the market for people that love cards to lean a little harder into it and actually get cash flow to fuel their collection building and make it more fun so they can have the cash in their pocket to go after that big PC item that they really want rather than like having a room full of cards they don't want, which I know is a common experience.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of like any number of collectors I know that literally have closets full of boxes of cards that might be dollar cards, $2 cards, $3 cards. Even if they go to a card show every weekend for months and months and months, they're still not going to sell every card in that box. And granted, you're not going to if you put them on eBay either, but if you put them on eBay, you have them in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of eyes. Whereas if you go to a card show, you know, even if it's a really big card show like the National, you might only have 100,000 people there or something like that. To where eBay, especially if you do any sort of promoted listing, one thing I've noticed in my store, tinkering with promoted listings, man, you promote that stuff, it's like pouring gasoline on the fire sometimes, you know, and you get way more views on your store. So it can be a game changer, you know, actually getting that inventory in front of eyes. You know, like I sell cards all the time. I'm like, why the hell would somebody want this? But they keep buying them, so I keep listing them.
Somebody's cousin is somewhere, you know, right? Or somebody went to high school with somebody, right? I always say that,
Pretty
like,
much.
because, you know, how many, baseball autos you have of a guy that never made it or whatever, but there's everybody means something to somebody if you have a sports card. So it's kind of, get it out there to the eyeballs. That brought me up like one thing that's coming in the future with Car Dealer Pro. In our update, we're teeing up on it in like 3 to 5 weeks. Basically, and this is where we want to go with the product is, you know, we want to become your place that you're managing your inventory. So, when not only, you upload your cards and then list them right to eBay, but we're going to allow you to list to multiple marketplaces and manage that inventory at once, right? So that's the direction of Car Dealer Pro that we want to go. Have a concept of inventory, help with cost basis and reporting and different things that'll help car dealers, and then also just like syndicate out to different marketplaces, like maybe even ones that are more difficult or you haven't considered, like Mercari or My Slabs or whatnot. So these are types of things that we want to do in the future. And if you're a card shop out there, a Shopify POS system in your store could be possible, where you have a Shopify store online. It goes to your eBay. It goes to all the channels I just mentioned. So if you could have a slab out, this could work for a show or a store. You could have a slab out, scan it with a barcode, check out in store, and then it comes down simultaneously off all the marketplaces. So that's where we want to build towards, and that's where we're headed as a company with Car Dealer Pro.
Now, whenever you have the multi-listing features and stuff like that, like say I have a card listed like in multiple places, if it sells on say Mercari, will it automatically delist in the other places, or why have to manually go in and do that after the sale?
No, so yeah, it would automatically delist from all those other marketplaces. So that's what we were building, and that's what we're going towards. So that part won't be available in 3 weeks, but we're setting up inventory management, which is and a whole new front end and back end redesign, which is like the precursor to, and then we'll start building the API connections so that we have the bilateral inventory syncs, where if something sells anywhere that you have live on the marketplaces, it would come down off of the other channels. So that's what we want to build, and I think that'll allow us to really make sense for a lot more people, right? And just have more exposure, and which will ultimately help every user that uses us, because we'll be able to build cooler tools that are more effective and for the card dealer and people that want to make money from their business.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely game changing, because for me, like I've tried similar things in the past, whether it's like List Perfectly or Vendu or something like that, to send stuff from eBay to Mercari to Poshmark or whatever platform was out at the time. And one thing that like I'd always get tripped up on, which is like the main reason I'm still not actively using it, is like I would always forget to go back and delist something, and then it would be like, oh damn, now I have to go rebuy this to like ship it to somebody, and now I'm paying more than what I just got paid for it. So like the fact that you guys have like met the need to where like it automatically delists is like, that's game changing, because like somebody like me who's definitely going to forget to do it, and that's literally the only reason I don't actively do it, is like, yeah, that takes that like blockade out for me, which is awesome. Now, out of curiosity, this like $9 prospect level, now you were saying you could list like multiple hundred cards in an hour. Do you find most people that do the trial are basically upgrading right away just to like continue to add to their stuff, or
it just depends on the person? So like if they have an 8170 and they're like fully game and they got tons of cards and they're like gonna end up being in the Hall of Fame tier, they do upgrade really quickly. But some people, there's people that have like a varying like interest in an amount of cards that they'll want to list, and they might only have like 20 or 30 that they're able to list in a week. So it really depends on the person. But I see what you're saying. But I think kind of the output that I'm describing is assuming that you've got all your cards imaged. So it's like how quickly you can do that is kind of dependent on your scanner setup or how you're photographing the cards. But it's not that they like run out in like an hour usually. Like as you're gearing up, like it may take a little bit longer the first few times that you're listing just to get a feel for it. But before long, you'll be kind of be able to know the inventory that's going to work really well for the scanner, kind of prioritize that, or for the software and prioritize that, and then also just have all the ins and outs of how to work everything and all your templates built and just be kind of on autopilot.
Nice. So when eBay does something like, for example, they just rolled out the new, like, if it's a raw card, you have to put in the condition and stuff like that. When they change their item specifics, is there anything that goes into like updating all of your listings, like in bulk or anything like that through Card Dealer Pro? Or like, how do you guys normally handle that? Like, once like eBay's like, all right, now you have to like update all your listings. And I would imagine somebody that is in the Hall of Fame tier probably has tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of cards in their store.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So basically, like, for whatever reason, the condition field, like the recent change, to use that as an example, like it hasn't affected the bulk upload yet. So people that we're not requiring that field, so you can list right now in bulk um, without that field, and we'll have to adjust and make changes to that template when it does become required, which I think is going to be in October, and we're already prepared for that change. So we'll probably make it even before that to be prepared and make sure it works all good. So we do have to stay really kind of very on top of eBay's changes and make sure that our templates are up to date and never get out of whack with what eBay's requires, because that would result in an outage for all of our customers. So we stay in close contact with it. In terms of like the cards that are already listed, I don't think that is going to be too much of an issue because of how they're basically not requiring it right now, so no one's kind of in trouble. We don't do anything like once you upload a batch of cards from Card Dealer Pro to eBay in the current version, like we don't really know we don't have any access to those, so you would have to kind of go in and individually update those. There's no like bulk update type of thing. So hopefully we'll make the change soon enough so that people uploading their new cards will be in the new format. And then, the legacy cards, I don't think there's going to be a moment where they all get like delisted or anything like that if they don't have that new field. That's not something that eBay typically likes to do. So I think it's going to be kind of like something moving forward once we make that change.
cool. It's always something that's in the back of my mind because like I can't tell you how many times I've had to like go back in and fix this or fix that over the years because eBay's like, oh, now we want to put in this or now we want to put in that. And it's like, does this really help identify the card? It may. I mean, I don't know the way the actual search algorithm works or whatnot, but man, they seem to add something almost like, if not every quarter, every other quarter to their different search functions.
Yeah, I really disagree with the conditions field specifically. I think it's like, man, like that's not worth it. Like everyone can use the image to kind of make their own determination on condition, in my opinion. And like they're also like really artificial like adjectives. So like everyone's interpretation of like what good is like not the same. So it's like really weird. I think I'm not sure why they did that, but we were talking before, like it definitely made it harder to list manually. And you'll bet that we'll automate that for you in Card Dealer Pro when that change becomes required. And it already is required when you're listing one by one. So they made Card Dealer Pro a little bit more, kind of advantageous. I think, it's a little harder to list one by one, and why not do it in bulk so that you can set your condition in bulk today. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, like I don't even know if you like would even know this type of information, but like to be able to like build something of this scale, like to where like it's taking a JPEG image and like basically figuring out player name, the year, the set, like all of those different things that like typically would take an intelligent human to be able to identify. Because like I've seen people that like collect cards even like sparingly, like not avid collectors, that they'd look at a card and they wouldn't know what year or set it came from, even though like if you flip it over and look at the back, it literally reads, 2018 Panini Donruss or whatever it is. You know what I mean? But the fact that you guys have like trained a computer system to be able to identify these things that are like very intricate, you know what I mean? And like you've mentioned, like sometimes parallels are still challenging, which I would imagine, because even like for me who like collects like heavy football and basketball, I still don't know what the hell some of these parallels that I'm pulling are now, especially with the way that Panini is printing like so many different like parallels. Like if you want a rainbow of a guy, back in the day you used to have to collect like up to 10 cards in it. Now it's like you're collecting hundreds to complete a full rainbow of somebody in like Select or in Prism or whatever set it is. But with that being said, like how many cards do you guys really have to run through something like this to get that level of accuracy? That's just insane to me. That just from
the way it works is I could go into it. So like we basically we brute force it. That's like the short answer is it's not like quite as intelligent as you might think. Like it's not necessarily like a computer vision that reads the card and knows what it is. It's more or less like a gigantic database that we've built through a lot of scrapes and intelligent kind of methods of data extraction from various sources. And we start with a checklist, right? It starts with the simple stuff. It becomes a giant database, starting from T206 stuff, even earlier stuff, all the way through what just came out. And it starts there, and we have all these columns that go across, and we're filling out all the information for each card in the world. And then basically from there, we scrape all the marketplaces for images. And that's why refractors can be challenging, and short prints and golds and stuff like that could be a little bit challenging, because it needs to sell on a marketplace for us to have that image. So basically,
the other thing I was thinking too is based on what scanner they're using too, it might even be difficult to sometimes tell it's a refractor.
That's totally true. Yeah, the image that we have, the reference image that we have, the quality of it is something that's challenging. So yeah. So, and then when you upload your JPEG images, we're rolling through and photo matching through our entire database that we've built. It's our database. It's proprietary. There's not some service out there that you can, plug up and make a Card Dealer Pro 2.0. Like we've took the time to build all of this. And, when you're uploading your JPEG images and it's rolling through all of those, it's doing the match off of like the likelihood of which image in our database is just like the one that you just uploaded. So I think one of the things you mentioned was image quality. Well, good news is, what our hope in the future is in a combination of, we want to work with the manufacturers like Fanatics and Panini to, when they release products, they should be taking images of every card, every parallel, at least one of everything. And they should provide that with companies like us. Right now, they don't have the infrastructure to take the images, and they don't take images of any of their cards. It just goes right into the pack from a graphic design file at the manufacturer. So we want to work with the card companies to get the images so that we can work with new releases and refractors and stuff on day one. So that's in progress and something that we want to do. And then, we're always trying to get better and identify more stuff. I did mention like kind of some of the weaker spots of us, but I don't, I've uploaded, Prism Color and Bowman Chrome refractors, and, it picks up on all sorts of stuff and can surprise you. So I don't want to turn people off that only have that type of stuff. It does work with it. It's just that, I want to set your expectations right, because it's not something that will get 100 out of 100 cards for every single card in the world.
That kind of stuff I don't even so much care about, because normally if I'm holding like some kind of like a Bowman refractor or some kind of short printed parallel, it's like, okay, this is a card that's going to be like $20+. It's like a little bit more worth my time and research. The thing that's super attractive for me is like the $5 and under cards that like literally it's like, oh my God, am I literally looking up another freaking Tua or another freaking, in CD Lamb or whatever player it is, you know what I mean, that I could give a crap less about, like for the 100th time today. You know what I mean? Like just being able to buzz through every single one of those and just be done is super attractive.
Yeah, you figure out those $2 to $10 cards are really where the bulk stuff comes in, and you think about with those type of cards, it is more about timing and getting them up and listing and stuff like that, right? Because you think about if you are selling a more expensive card or something like that, you may still even take some extra, you may scan it, but you may take some extra pictures, to make sure that if it's numbered, right, that they see the number well, that they, if it's autographed, that maybe take a closer up picture, of the autograph to add into, into your listings and stuff like that. But
I really agree with what you just said. So I used Card Dealer Pro in this way. I was in like a listing mood on this Sunday, and I had a box of like a bunch of Angels cards that I had purchased, and it had all these like random Otani. So like not a lot of high end stuff, but just like 2019, 2020, 21, all this random Otani. So I made a batch on Card Dealer Pro, all Otanis, and just listed them at auction, 99-cent starts, and just let them ride. And, I'm really, because it was exactly like you said, Michael, like the right time. Otani's the hottest guy in the hobby right now. So why not throw those? I got them laying around in the shoebox, why not take all the Otanis and just run them on auction in on the cards for nothing? They're just kind of wasting space. So, and I have Trouts, but I'll wait on those, I'll wait for the right moment. And when the right Sunday hits and Trout is hot again, I'll run the Trouts, and I'll be able to use Card Dealer Pro to make that decision to do the work, in a half hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's interesting is that, what I find is when I'm, like, what I do is my own personal thing. Like when I, am going to take a stack of cards to list, most of the time I'm trying to group the same sets together, because it makes it, it makes that a little easier, right? So when you look at the work that I do, right? So I take the cards, and I know I'm like, oh, I have this stack of cards. I have 3 different, sets that were in here. So now I have to, I do all that. And now I'm going in, sell similar and all this other kind of stuff, so on and so forth. Whereas to your point, if I have a stack of one player and all of a sudden that player goes on fire, I just put them all in at once. I'm not worrying about, because I don't have to worry about that much about, oh, this one's 2018, 2019. Then I have a 2022. Then I have a 23. Then I have a 7, so on and so forth. So it definitely speeds it up for sure. And to your point, you can, like, you made a great point. One of the things that you always try and do, right? Something happens, you always try and get listed as fast as you can. Yeah. Right. If all of a sudden, Ohtani throws a no hitter or stuff like that and hits 3 home runs in a game, people are going to be going, oh my gosh, I got to get Ohtani cards. Yeah, you're right. And if you're sitting there with a bunch, however many it is, and whatever sets they are, you throw it in, and, within minutes you're up, ready to go. Kind of like, first to market type thing, rather than taking an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the part that I like about it, is that you don't, you just take a stack and go, take a stack and go, take a stack and go and stuff.
Yeah. For me, just looking at like just the pricing alone, like I understand that some people might be watching and their thought might be, man, I'm really like paying for something that I can do for free. Like as far as listing it might just take longer. But as somebody who's literally paid other people to list, like $9 for 500 cards, like I don't care like what sweatshop you find. No one's gonna list 500 cards for $9. Like that's just not possible. You know what I mean? So like that right there is just like, in my opinion, like a great value is like introductory rate, and then like it just seems to get cheaper as you just go on in the tiers or whatnot, as you add more scans or whatnot. But um, just to be able to transact that many cards, especially stuff that you're never going to take the time to list. You know what I mean? Like for me, signing up for something like this, it's literally going to be all like I'm going to start with all of the cards that I really just don't want to deal with. You know what I mean? And get all of those just out and into eBay, and then from there it's like scale up, like it seems like the move.
Yeah.
It seems like
Bo from 1 Million Cubs, he's like a pretty
Yep.
famous YouTuber. His big strategy that he always preaches for cards that are more or less, under $3 and you don't really have a huge cost basis on. His big strategy is like $1.59 free shipping. And what that strategy, I've done it before and it really does help. So whenever I can, I try to implore that. There's certain cards where I don't want to do it, but I totally get where he's coming from for it. But what it does is people buy multiples when you do that strategy, because when you see free shipping and somebody offers that on a huge amount of cards, like, I think Bo might have like 40 or 50,000 active listings, and a lot of them are at $1.59 free shipping. So somebody can look through 60,000 cards and basically put together a free shipping lot. And a lot of them are steals, a lot of them might be under comps,
Yeah.
So, that is a really good kind of way to build your eBay account, get your feedback higher. And then when like something big happens and you work all this time and you have a big card, or you want to run some auctions, like, you're a more reputable seller, you have the volume, and then you're always kind of having cash flow and orders to ship when you're, selling cards at $1.59 free shipping.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to get into bulk, Anthony, if you could share my screen. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to see this sucker in action. You know what's coming, Alex?
I think I do, yeah.
Why is it not up there?
Come on, man.
I'm trying.
Come on,
For
man.
some reason, this was to show off the Steeler stripes. There you go.
Bam. You have the cannon attachment.
Yeah. So you get the Car Dealer Pro Team candid camera there, plus but yeah, like on top of the 81. This is us at the National. So on top of the 8170 goes this Autoloader 1000, and this was made by an inventor in North Carolina. His name is JP Laskus, and his company is Laskus Innovations, if you're interested in this. And it's just an accessory. He builds accessories for the hobby, and he's an inventor, just kind of works on different hobby machines. And this is one of them. And it only works with raw cards, and he's working on them for penny sleeves right now.
Gosh.
But only works with raw cards, but you can put 1,000 raw cards in there. And what it does is there's a foam conveyor belt that lowers the cards down so that you don't have to feed them into the 8170. And yeah, you can scan 1,000 cards relatively quickly. It's pretty amazing.
That's huge.
There's a guy, I'll keep him anonymous because I don't know that he wants to be public, but there's a poultry farmer in the middle of the country that he basically purchased an unreal amount of scans from me because he bought this barn collection of cards. And he purchased 3 of these scanners, 3 of the autoloaders.
Oh my God.
And has like a whole operation build out now from this buy he made. And he didn't know anything about cards. So that was kind of a fun thing. And, it works for him. It's working for people. JP's a really cool guy. He also builds these accessories. So if you see the scanner is a little bit, it's on stilts. It's on those like black 3D printed stands, so you can buy those on eBay or at JP Laskus Innovations website. Yeah, really cool guy, and he's working on all sorts of cool stuff like a sorting robot for cards and really just innovative stuff. So yeah, I like working on this type of stuff, and this picture reminds me the National was just incredible. It was definitely really exhausting from like a work perspective, but a lot of people, a lot of talking people and stuff, but we grinded cards. The team, like, we went to dinner. We did the whole show all day. Talked business. We ate dinner, and then we went to trade nights from 7 p.m. until late at night, and then did it again and again and again. And it was a great week of cards. That's for sure.
For sure.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I can only imagine how cool that must have been to be set up at this year's National with that setup there. To be able to blow through 1,000 cards that fast is just insane to me. Like, I think of 1,000 cards, I'm thinking that'd be like 10 days of me grinding to get 1,000 cards listed. Like, literally day to night, like, grinding cards. 10 days pretty much to get 1,000. Like, if I'm doing it just myself in the eBay app.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's amazing. Like, I think some of the technology that we're talking about for other industries, has been out, right? But cards as an industry, right? It boomed in the early 90s, and it just had another peak and a run, right? And
yep.
I think that peak and run has allowed technology to come into the space and start to catch up in the card industry, and it's allowed people that invest in companies from the traditional world to view the hobby as like a real industry and see its value. And I wouldn't have a job today if that wasn't the case, right? So it's really cool to see. And my view of it is that we're just on the very beginning of technology introducing to cards, and like it's gonna rapidly improve from where it is today over the next year and years to come. And I'm really excited for it. I think it's gonna at the end of the day, like when somebody rips a pack open from Target and it's their first pack, right? Like their experience and ability to take that card, sell the unwanted stuff, and get stuff that they truly want with it, and that liquidity and the speed of that transaction is the stickiness that the hobby needs to grow. And it's technologies like Collects and Card Dealer Pro and some other great ones out there in the hobby that will that can help with that.
Yeah, and that's really awesome too. Just like you mentioned, opening up a blaster box and being able to just quickly get the cards you don't care about in that box listed and sold to help cover the cost of the cards you do want to keep. Like, I'm thinking just this past week, like, I've opened up a lot of Star Wars cards. So like I've been listing like a bunch of base like Topps Chrome, and it's like it starts to add up, like a $1.50 Yoda card here, a $2 Chewbacca card there, you know what I mean? Like, next thing you know, the $20 blaster box is covered, so being able to get that all done basically right away, especially if you're getting the product once it's new, like, you're number one going to get the top of the market for it because it's new and it's hot and everybody's basically fighting over it. But then, like, number two, it's like you get all of it out there. So if somebody's looking for completing that set, they're going to find you before they're going to find the guy who's literally sitting there manually listing one by one by one, who currently is honestly me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm currently missing out on probably a lot of sales because of the volume that I'm able to get stuff up.
Yeah, the beauty is you kind of talked about like maybe the trepidation was a scanner. And it's a free trial. Like you can start with kind of any amount to get a feel for it before you make that scanner purchase. And I wanted to talk about one of the biggest things from the hobby that people will mention about scanning cards is they're worried that will it damage my card. That's the biggest the thing that the traditional hobbyist will say. So that's like their fear, and I totally understand where they're coming from with that. The beauty of the 8170 is that you can scan cards in penny sleeves, top loaders, or card savers. So like depending on the value there, you can make that determination.
That's what I
I
like
wouldn't
about it.
scan a raw Mickey Mantle 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle through the 8170. Like I'd probably put that in a top loader, right? Because it's a precious card. But I would scan raw 52 commons in the 8170, and I wouldn't have any issue with that, right? What I wouldn't scan raw is like modern Topps Chrome refractors or something like that. So that's the one thing I wanted to mention is that you have options if you're worried that it's going to damage your card, and that is one of the biggest things that people like deter people from moving forward with some of this technology. And a lot of people don't know that you can scan cards in top loaders and pennies using card savers, and they think it's only raw.
That was a game changer for me because I would say 90% of the pictures I upload to eBay currently is just the front and back of the card in the top loader. And then if there's something like glaring with the card, like if I see any form of flaw, I'll normally take pictures of the flaws too and upload those too. But 90% of the cards I'm uploading are cards I got out of packs that are reasonably decent condition. So it's normally just like front of the card, back of the card in the top loader. So being that I can just literally just toss the top loaders in through the scanner, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because like just being able to take, because I've flat laid a bunch of cards and scanned a bunch of cards that way in the past, and just taking them out of the top loader, out of the penny sleeve, like all of that time actually adds up quite a bit. Like after you're doing, like if you're doing it a few times, it's like nothing, but if you do that like times 100 or times 1,000, like you're spending a lot of time just de-top loading and de-sleeving cards. Like, so just being able to just drop it and be done with it is huge.
Scan it how you buy it. That's what I like to say. So however if you buy it at a show, however it is, you could sell it and scan it and image it however you buy it, and like that touches it the least amount of times. Because like I want to put the work into stuff I actually have sold, not stuff that still is just no money. You know what I mean, on the table.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's kind of like with you don't have to share this anymore, Anthony. It's kind of like with anything, right? When you're selling stuff, right? The least amount of times you have to handle your inventory, the better off you are.
Yeah.
So if you could get it, boom, and get it listed, and not have to worry, like you said, depending on, obviously, different scanners are different. So people, that's one thing, we say is, from that standpoint, there are different ones out there. Not saying that they won't work, but the Ricos are the proven and tried method and the most confidence that there is. But to your point, like I said, if you're not handling it, if I can, like you said, rip it out of a pack, do whatever, and I have my scanner sitting right here and go, I mean, like literally 10 minutes after I open up a hobby box, I can have all the cards that I don't want that have value listed on eBay. I'm already starting to get a return.
Yep.
Potential return on that on money that I sent out, that I spent already. From that standpoint. So yeah, I mean that's that's big. I mean that's a big feature that I don't think a lot of people recognize. And again, from that standpoint,
it's such a game changer to actually be able to make money off of the low end stuff that like literally no one deals with. You know what I mean? Like it just ends up like how many cards do you find in a bargain box just because the dealer didn't want to deal with it? And it's like, oh, that's a $10 card, or oh, that's a $7 card, or oh, that's a $6 card, or XYZ. And it's just in a dollar box because they don't want to deal with like listing all of these cards that are like lower end. So now to be able to actually go through that entire box that may have $10 cards, may have $7 cards, may have $8 cards or whatnot. It could be a bunch of like $1.50 to $2 cards, but hey, now you're actually making $1.50 to $2 or whatever it is minus eBay fees, you know what I mean, on that card, rather than it maybe just sitting in your closet, because maybe somebody like me isn't going to go pull it out of a bargain box because you can't go and triple up or double up on that one card in that bargain box. You know what I mean? It's just a $1 card of an average player that I don't care about. You know what I mean? But out there somewhere, somebody PCs that player. You know what I mean? Just like Alex was saying earlier. So actually being able to get that out and available to the people that are looking for those cards, because I can only imagine how many like regular base cards just don't get listed just because people are like, oh, that doesn't have any value. Like myself personally, like if I come across a Cordell Stewart card, I'm going to pick it up. I don't care if it's base or not. You know what I mean? Or like any of the guys that I personally PC, I don't care if it's his 10th year or his rookie year. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a degree of collector out there still that they just want cards of the people that they like. So regardless of whether or not it's like a base Donruss of, like LeBron James' 16th season, you know what I mean? They're still going to want it because they like LeBron James and they want to collect as many LeBron James cards as they can. You know what I mean? So, and LeBron's probably not a great excuse or great example because he's like one of the best players of all time, but like insert any like common player, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I sell
like
all
Gary
the time
Trent
like Bowman paper, random like pitchers or relief or minor, guys that just they go up a level from AA to AAA, and then people look online and they you sell $1 card that's probably worth 50 cents, or you sell a $2 card that's probably worth 50 cents in reality, or like once his market is actualized. Hit that card will never sell. It just might not even be listed anymore. But yeah, being available. I always say this, like I tell people this all the time. One of the biggest things it does, like to put it simply, is it lowers the floor of the value of the card that you're willing to list. Because when you're doing it by hand, you have this mental, like for me, it was like a lot of times like anything under $20 or like $15, I couldn't really bring myself to like even put in my pile to work on, because it's like, I know I'm only gonna, focus on this for a few hours. Like, is it worth it to list this $2 card? And then it would always just kind of go in this box that I would use to set up at a show. And then, you're praying that somebody is like a fan of some wide receiver in like across the country team, and picks it up from your box at the show, and it probably doesn't get the eyeballs that it needs. So getting it listed is the first step, right? The more cards you list, the more cards you sell. And the eyeballs are on marketplaces on digitally, and not even if you go to a lot of shows, your boxes are not getting seen by especially the non-liquid inventory. It's just going to be really tough to move in bargain boxes, and more likely to move over time quicker on digital platforms.
Yeah, I was watching Flipping Sports Guy, who Paul Hui sometimes comes in our chat. He usually goes to bed, and he uses Card Dealer Pro, and he's been doing a bunch of videos, showing shipping and everything. And the eyeball thing was me, and I forgot what year it was. It might have been a 95 or 97 tops, but it was
it was 95.
It was a Gary Guy, but it was like a Gary Gaetti. And you're right. I mean, a Gary Gaetti fan, going through eBay going, hey, I'm a Gary Gaetti guy, stuff like that. You think, like you said, the eyeballs, the amount of people that have the ability to see that versus if you go down to your local, your once every other Sunday, card shop. I mean, a card show. And the truth is let's face it, you go to those shows, you tend to see a lot of the same dealers, right?
Yep.
If it's a 50 table, maybe it would surprise me if at least 40 to 45 of those tables are the same guys who were there 2 weeks ago and 2 weeks before that, 2 weeks before that. So how many different people are they looking at their inventory? Even if you said over the next 6 months you're going to have 12 shows, how many different people are they going to be looking at it? When you think in a day, how many people on eBay can you have looking at your store, basically your online bargain bins?
You got to wonder though, like even going to a show, what percentage of your box actually gets looked through?
Right.
Like what percentage of like the people that are at the show actually stop to even touch your box, number one. But then number two, like what percentage of them are actually looking through the entire thing and like really getting a good feel for what you actually
It might be
have.
like 4 people look at every card, like even if you're there and it's busy all day.
Show like the
Yeah.
National, like it's even less likely because then they're gonna have to like cram through to even get to it. And like I know me personally, like I'm a bargain box guy, but if I see that there's like a million people at a table, like I'm not gonna want to like be all smushed up against people trying to dig through boxes.
Yeah,
So,
me either. That's not my vibe either.
and
Well,
then
you
the
think
fact
about-
that the internet, you can sort it by whatever the heck you want and your own parameters. And then, oh, by the way, I now want to sort it by price so that I get all the cheaper ones first or whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, you're going through bargain boxes, you might have a $1 box, a $3 box, a $5 box, but that might be it. It might not even be separated by sport. And then if it is, it might not be separated by team. Then if it is, it might not be separated by player. Whereas like the internet, it's like, I want Shohei Ohtani. I just type in Shohei. It's going to send me all of his Shoheis. If I just want his rookie year, I'm going to type in his rookie year. It's going to just give me rookies. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's really the power in it, is being able to really niche down to what the buyer is actually looking for and being able to like have that available for when they want it, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I have that card, but it's somewhere in my closet that I haven't seen in like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the big difference for me, at least personally.
Well, and you talk about the National. Look, hey, we went to the National together 2 years ago. Mike and I went, and you know what it's like. If you're not at somebody's, table or by their boxes, early in the day, stuff like that. Number one, who knows how many people have gone through them? That's the first thing. But second thing is it's so busy. You walk by so many tables thinking, man, I'd love to stop there. There's 16 people around those 10 boxes. I'm not even going to get there. The heck with it. I move on. So you think about how many value boxes you don't get to look at when you go to. I mean, Alex, you saw how busy that damn National was, and it was way bigger than it was last time. It was probably 200,000 square feet bigger than it was in 2 years ago in 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the show was so busy I actually couldn't bargain box at all and I really enjoy bargain boxing, but I literally didn't have the time because the booth was so busy from start to finish, and even we had meetings booked before the show each day.
I saw that on social media. You guys were setting up live meet and greets and stuff like that, showing people how to use the platform and stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, we wanted to be super organized and give people like, specific times to come by. It ended up kind of like, people showed up whenever, but there was a lot of people that showed up to their specific time, but we wanted to do all that, but it was such a busy show. I had to prioritize and just look at the showcase stuff. It was interesting though. I think the real like fun of the show was in the bargain boxes, because the showcase stuff, I felt like at the National was like super tough to find a good deal.
That's what I heard.
I found the prices to be like, not what I was expecting for people that are like trying to move cards. And the deals that I actually found were all peer-to-peer at trade nights from people that were attending the show rather than people that had set up. So I really hope the National considers that for the future, that like when you go, I've been to all the, not all of them, but a lot of the great shows in the country. And when you go to like the Dallas card show, which is a pretty like infamous card show, the different experience from there versus the National is almost all the dealers, or like 90% of the dealers, are like trying to make a deal on the card that they have out. So if you could walk up and you're like, I will pay you 100% of comps of what it goes for on eBay, like you're gonna make a deal at the Dallas card show, right? And at the National, that is not the experience. There's a lot of people that are like, these are my personal collection, and like I'm showing them off, and like I want 3X and I don't care, whatever. And I think that's one area where the National needs to improve, is they need to consider like that the hobby has grown in the last 3 years, and there might be the best dealers in the country might only be 2 to 3 years into this, and they might be have the best inventory and be the most reasonable and make the most people happy. But if you only let spots up for people that have been there for 40, 50 years, it doesn't let that new blood come in, and it keeps things pretty stale. Because if people are only kind of displaying their museum, if you will.
For sure.
So you talk about. I was gonna say you talk about making the deal. So Mike and I were standing at a table, and a guy had an autographed Ellie De La Cruz graded. I forgot what card it was, and he had 2,500 on the card. So the guy, and Mike and I were standing there, and the guy's negotiating the deal, and he's like, well, I think he got him to agree to like 2,200. The guy goes, great. Hey, will you take PayPal? And he goes, no, I'm not taking PayPal. I don't want to pay the 3% fees. So the guy says right there, I will add the fees on. The guy goes, no, I don't want to do it. He goes, well, I'd rather you go ahead and pay by a credit card. He goes, isn't that the same? He goes, no. He goes, okay. So if I go ahead and decide to pay for the credit card, what's my deal going to be? He goes, oh, you're going to pay by credit card, $2,500, which is the price on the card. And the guy goes, hold on a second. What are you talking about? He goes, honestly, and he says to this guy, right? I mean, looking him dead in the eye, he goes, honestly, it's not really worth the effort with PayPal. I would just pass on the deal. And I'm sitting there going, you just passed on $2,200. And the guy goes, yeah. He goes, okay, thanks. And I happen to walk away, and as I turned the corner, I turn around, and the guy walked up to me, and he goes, you were there. Do you believe that crap? And I'm like, no, I don't understand that. I just literally cannot understand it. But to his point, Anthony, the deals, they were not there this year.
I think I've heard that
a couple times I went to.
Yeah, it might be a positive sign for the market too. I just want to interject that, like,
yeah,
maybe it's a sign that people are optimistic about car prices going into the fall, and people are feeling good about where things stand, and they're like, you know what, things are going up, and I'm not budging, and I want to set a new comp at the National and all this stuff. And I mean, it's probably what it is, but as somebody that like went to the National trying to make some deals on stuff, it's a little disappointing and frustrating when you like can't buy a card for what it readily goes for. You know, when you see it, like, sure. And you don't want to be like a complete, right? Like, even if you're a collector, like, I think it's a universal experience. Like, whether you're buying the card to flip or collect or whatever, you don't want to be the person that overpays by any amount, right? Like, you don't want to just give your money, hard-earned money away for something just for somebody else's like obscene profit, right? Like, where they just, not only that you're giving them 100% of what it goes for on eBay, you're then giving them like all this money on top just for free, for nothing, for like having the card being available. It's like, it's a bummer. So, I don't know. It's not a completely like every experience is like that, but that was my general vibe of some of the dealers at the National.
Yeah. So we have a question in the chat from Jason Edwards, Sports Cards. How does Card Dealer Pro do with Modern? Been looking into it lately because I hate listing.
So yeah, like, it does great with Modern. Its weak spots are, something that got released in the last few weeks, right? So like, Topps Chrome Baseball might still be pretty sketchy. I won't really upload at a super high rate. But stuff that's been released this year is still pretty good. So, it's not entirely bad with Modern. It does work at a higher rate with less manual intervention at with vintage or older cards, doesn't even have to be vintage, but just like as you move back a year or 2 years, it works at a higher rate. But it does work on modern cards, and many of our users are using it on modern cards.
Is there a feature for, like, say it's a brand new set like Topps Chrome Baseball that just dropped? Say I put through a card, it kicks back, it doesn't give me like the right information. It might recognize, hey, it's Topps Chrome. Like, am I able to say, hey, this is Shohei Ohtani, card number XYZ, and say
Yeah.
receive
So that's what
information?
Bo from 1 Million Cubs, like his strategy there. He does this all the time because he's a big, like, he'll buy hobby boxes on release day, and he wants to be first to market. And he's still like he's not paid to say this. This is just his method of like how he operates in his businesses.
Yeah.
He uploads the cards to Car Dealer Pro. It doesn't it doesn't find them, and then he exports the spreadsheet, overrides it, and then he manually fills in the information, and kind of just does it that way. So because it groups the images together and gives you the template to do in bulk, even when it does just that, it can save you some time and keep things organized. So that's not the ideal state. We don't want that. We want to even get better so that hopefully in the future, like, even when cards, the images aren't there yet on a brand new release, the checklist is there on like as close to release day as possible, and you're using the manual search function we have in the app to fill in the card that you have. In the future, we hope that it works kind of like the PSA submission portal, where you can use like suggestive text and search the card and then grab it. So, that's kind of the long-winded answer there.
Well,
I would have.
and what's cool also is that there are features that even though they may not be in Car Dealer Pro, you can still download the Excel spreadsheet, and then open that up and make changes, in there,
Yep.
and then and then bulk load it up. So you still have the ability to make those tweaks and stuff like that.
Jason has another question here. He says, does the program eventually learn the new cards, or does the company have to update the library?
So right now, the company, us, we were updating the library, but the work that we're doing for Car Dealer Pro 2.0 is going to enable us to start to get into peer-to-peer, fill-ins, so that if people do manual overrides and work on a new set or different cards, that those images will then be used. Because our theory is, because our users are mostly using scanners, like their images are really high quality, good lighting, and like everything we need them to be. So, we want to leverage our users and the manual work. So that'll be, coming soon. It will. Right now, it doesn't necessarily. So if you go through a batch of 10 cards, like from Topps Chrome, and it didn't manually do them, and then you did the work, it wouldn't then work on the next batch at the moment.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So just out of curiosity, for anyone that's new and considering signing up for Card Dealer Pro, what do you typically, what advice would you give to like a new person who might be even maybe new to listing cards? Like,
Yeah. So, I guess, first advice is figure out how you're going to document the cards, and evaluate how much inventory you have, and if it's a one-time thing or if you're going to keep buying cards. So if you're like, a real card dealer, you got all these cards and you're going to keep buying collections and everything, I pretty much recommend the 8170 at that point. Making that decision kind of makes a lot of things clear. At that time, invest in a Car Dealer Pro account, give us a 7-day free trial. Check out our demo on YouTube. You can see it. It's a 12-minute video, and it's me. And I walk you through the software and how to upload from scan all the way to eBay. And I go through that. It's just a quick video on YouTube. And then from there, if you have any additional questions or want a one-on-one demo, you can go to cardealerpro.com, click schedule a demo, and that's my calendar, and you can book a demo with me over Zoom. We'll walk through it together, and I'll show you or your employees how to use Car Dealer Pro and leverage it for your business. You can ask me one-on-one questions, eBay strategies, shipping strategies, anything like that. People take up the time differently depending on their needs. So that's like the initial ramp up. A couple of other things that I would invest in is really learning about it's not super complicated, but learning about eBay shipping and eBay standard envelope shipping. So making sure that you know how to use that. It costs 63 cents, and you're able to ship cards under $20. That's only a few years old, and it's a huge hobby innovation, because if you're able to get tracked shipping label and send a card for $3 for only 60-cent shipping, rather than having to charge for a first class label, that's like really enabled, bulk cards. So learn about that. Learn about how to send the cards PWE, and and then dive into some selling strategies, and then use Car Dealer Pro to get your active listings up, and start to get your cash flow up, and use that to buy more cards and start the cycle over. That's kind of my general advice of how to evaluate your needs on a scanner, make the decision, get into Car Dealer Pro, get learn about it, sign up for a demo, learn more about it, and then use it to list a bunch of cards to eBay, and dive into learning about eBay too.
Cool. Well, we've been going like close to about an hour and a half now, and I don't want to take up too much of your time this evening. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to point out to the audience about Car Dealer Pro? Or, it could be anything, even if you wanted to plug your personal podcast or anything like that, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I appreciate you guys having me on and talking about Car Dealer Pro and card scanning. And I can tell you guys are passionate collectors, and I like talking to like-minded people. So I've enjoyed our time tonight. So I really thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. So if you're in the South, if you're in Philadelphia or South Jersey area, I run a card show. The Brotherly Love Card Show. It's 110 tables, and our next date is on October 29th. So come out to that. I run that with my buddy Frank's Card Shop. And so you can follow me, my personal collection. I'm Delco Rips on Instagram and Twitter. Cards are my number one passion. And, I'm living the dream, being able to work at a card company and, talk about cards, not just in my spare time now, but 9 to 5 for work. And then, even in my free time, I'm looking up cards, and, I'm really fortunate and blessed to be able to do that and lean into my passion.
That is pretty awesome to be able to kind of do what you love for a living.
Yeah, definitely. I've done a lot of, I think we've all had that experience doing jobs where you don't love it, but yeah, so yeah, I'm happy to be doing that. And look, it's got me talking to card on a card, channel like yourself, and doing stuff like that. So it's brought us together today.
Just want to give a quick shout out to the card show that you guys are putting together, just to verify this is the right one, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Brotherly Love Card Show. It's in Voorhees, New Jersey at Congregation Bethel. And yeah, that's our, I'm glad you're able to find it. That's good. We're doing something right there.
Yeah, so. I just Googled it. So do you guys have any vendor tables left available? Or
they haven't even, we'll sell out really quick. So if you go to the Brotherly Love Card Show Instagram, you can get on our email list. We are going to drop the tables for sale in about a week. Cool. And we've had 110 tables for the last 2 shows, and we always sell out. So if you want a table, act quick and get on our vendor list, and we'll add you. And it's first come, first serve. No holds bar for anybody that wants to join. Just as whoever pays for their table quicker.
Cool. I'm going to definitely check it out. I've been looking into some different shows I haven't been to yet for the end of the year. So this could be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.
Set up with you guys.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Be awesome. Cool. But yeah, definitely. Again, I appreciate your time this evening, Michael. Is there anything coming up on Huddle Card you want to talk about?
No, I mean we have Rip and Chip tomorrow. Then we'll be like we always say, look, guys, we're always looking for guests to come on. If you have suggestions, if you know of anybody, made some connections that national trying to get on, but man, I mean, just your normal crazy card collector YouTube life.
Sounds good. And I'll have a few vlogs coming out this week, guys, and I'll have some more shorts coming out from Steeler training camp as well. So stay tuned to the channel. Next week we'll be live on Michael's channel, so make sure you go and subscribe to Huddle Card. And it looks like we did have another question come in real quick. I want to address from this the breaks. He okay, Michael answered it already. Yes, they do have a monthly subscription service. They do have a 1-week free trial on the website, though, this the break. So if you're interested in checking it out, if it's free, it's for me. That's the way I live my life. So especially now that I know you don't actually have to have the expensive scanner in hand to be able to try it. So that leads me to want to try it like before even buying the scanner. So highly suggest you guys give it a try. And honestly, I'm more prone to doing it now, just having a conversation with you and getting to actually meet the people behind the company. It's always it's nice to put a face with the name in the hobby. And again, I really appreciate all your time this evening, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. I'm looking forward to trying the platform.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate all the questions and everything. And yeah, really, thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to CDP 2.0. That's going to be pretty cool with the stuff you were talking about, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll hopefully we'll have a big rollout, and we'll do a follow-up episode and talk about some of the things that we're able to do when we have that multi-marketplace syndication live.
Perfect. Yeah, I would love to have you on again, man, anytime. And maybe even on Michael's channel next time, too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Until the next episode, God bless you. We'll see you later.